Hey everyone, we're redoing the intro that we just did.
Hello. Hi everybody.
The microphones weren't turned on. We didn't get to the movie yet though, so it's good.
You didn't miss anything important.
No, just awkward sitting here. We're trying to get chummy because
Keith, why would anyone want to sit next to me?
This fucking camera's not 16 by 9. That's just pissing me off. We have all this. We don't have that much space in here, but we have more space than this. We're framing like we're in a Wes Anderson film.
Oh, I'm fine with that.
We gotta get within.
You need some funky wallpaper
for what's the hotel movie called?
Oh fuck. Well, we're doing great so far.
We know movies.
Hotel Transylvania.
Hotel Transylvania 3 with Adam Sandler when they prop up his corpse to do the voice acting.
He's gonna be in a really good movie. I saw
That's impossible.
I don't know. Okay.
That's impossible.
See, I'm doing a bad job again because I don't know the name of it. But I just saw.
You don't know the name of the movie?
I saw a preview.
We have the power to IMDb awkwardly while I try not to put my face directly in the microphone, which leads to a weird neck.
No, I saw a preview for an Adam Sandler movie, and it looked actually very, very good, and I got excited.
Hotel Transylvania 4 in 2021.
Oh, it's Uncut Gems.
Uncut Gems, where he plays Howard Ratner.
That actually looks like a good movie.
It's got that Mr. Robot framing on the cover.
Boy.
We're 2 seconds into a video podcast. We're 2 seconds into a movie podcast. We already did the stereotypical thing of opening IMDb.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
I'm Stephanie.
Wait, does it also feature Scarlett Johansson?
Yes.
It's connected. Oh, wait, we planned it.
No, well it says Uncut Gems and Marriage Story.
Shit. No.
It's two separate movies.
It's a thumbnail. It's a picture of two different movies.
God,
still we suck. Oh, that's Adam Driver.
Hi everyone.
Hi Adam Driver.
I'm Stephanie.
Hi.
My hair's really yellow, so
Hi,
it's not color saturation. It's atomic sunshine, so it's not your screen.
Oh yeah.
I feel obligated to mention that because it's really bright.
This is not color calibration. This is just isn't actually blonde hair.
It's got orange on the bottom.
Yeah. But it's a really specific color.
Atomic sunshine. I named it myself.
Is it orange?
The orange
or is
part?
It red?
I don't remember. Shut the fuck up.
People are still arguing about it. I love it.
Official whatever. Thanks everyone for voting for red. If you voted for red, then you're the best. If you voted for orange, then you're okay. But
60% of you are losers.
You gotta make it up to me. No.
So we saw Jojo Rabbit.
Yes.
By the way.
Yeah,
which you know because title of video.
We actually just saw it.
Yeah.
I actually was crying for this.
Yeah, we've actually both cried. Although you went for a while.
I did. I went for like 30 minutes.
There's a very specific scene where I obviously cried.
Yeah, we won't spoil it.
No.
But.
Yeah, well we're gonna go like recommendations for a while, and then we'll probably be like spoilers now, and we're gonna gush about specific things that are.
Oh, we're gonna be. Probably. That's so official. You got to do like it's etiquette. I've never done this.
You let people try to watch the video, or they can try to like figure out whether they want to watch it because a lot of them probably never even heard of Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah. So yeah, I think honestly for us, it's not showing anywhere near us. We had to go to a very special like 9 a.m. showing, which is the only showing of the entire day. And I think the only other theater that's showing it is like a weird artsy theater.
A place you have to drive like half an hour to get to, and we're lucky for that because otherwise it's like way worse for a lot of people. Like where I used to live, it took like an hour to get to any limited release theaters. Like it was it was awful.
And boy, well, my brother's getting to be really good with movies, but for a long time I was like, any of these movies I want to go see, I had to go like figure it out myself, drive out in the middle of nowhere.
Alone.
I love my family, but they ain't gonna be watching these movies with me. So
these are like
that's why I'm glad I know Keith now.
It's kind of fun. It's always the special trip. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I remember, like I told you before, like with family, I once went out and just saw like as a double feature, like Safety Not Guaranteed and Moonrise Kingdom, and it's like
I love Moonrise Kingdom. This is cool.
You're seeing weird movies that almost no one knows about compared to like.
That's how I saw that hotel movie with the name that we can't remember. I saw that one in a weird artsy theater.
Hotel Budapest?
No,
Grand Budapest Hotel.
Grand Budapest
Hey, we did it. We did it. We remembered the movie. That's not the movie that we're talking about.
No. Well, this movie. So this movie is by Taika Waititi.
I think that's It's an interesting name. We got an interesting name.
He did What We Do in the Shadows, which is why I wanted to see.
And
this.
he also did Thor Ragnarok, which I'm trying to get you to watch because it's a dreaded horror. It's a dreaded Marvel movie, but it's also a this guy movie, and it was really fucking funny. Even Andrew liked it. He doesn't like anything.
Well, if Andrew liked it,
and it wasn't even
good.
just because the Hulk was in it.
I just don't. I'm not a big Marvel movie person.
I'm encouraging you to watch like the 23rd out of 27 movies.
I have heard that this is like the good one though.
Yeah,
so
no, Thor Ragnarok's great.
I saw the I told you I saw the last one. What was it?
Oh yeah, you had the bizarre experiment of just seeing Endgame.
Yeah, it was a bad idea.
And you fell asleep.
I did.
Which I would expect, because it's just a bunch of people you don't know of doing payoff of a bunch of things that you also don't know about.
There's a lot of scenes where the audience was like, oh, yeah. Or like, oh, and I'm just like...
Endgame featured a bunch of scenes that were riffing off of scenes from other movies, which you also haven't seen. So it was like the most dense with like references to other movies you could possibly have. And you're like, I'm just going to jump in right here.
Yeah, I just pissed a lot of people off. I was like, oh, you guys got free tickets to go see Endgame. People had to like pre-order those, and I was like, just got invited.
Yeah.
Oh, no. So don't hate me.
So this movie had a super strange tone, right? Like, this was an experience.
Oh, yeah.
Because like right off the bat, you have what is like the trailer shot of like what you kind of think you're getting into, which is that the trailers show like this kid in some kind of like fun, wacky summer camp, but it's for like Nazi boot camp, but for like 10-year-olds. And he has, and I didn't know if this was going to take place in reality or not, or if it was like a fantastical, nonsensical world. So going in, I didn't know if Hitler was real.
Oh, no, see, I figured it out by the trailer. No, because so the premise is that this kid is a Nazi fanatic during the time where that would be appropriate. He lives in Germany.
His imaginary friend is Hitler. Just actual Hitler.
Yeah, so he talks to Hitler.
A very specific, supportive, kind of loving, but toxic version of Hitler compared to like Hitler, because it's a kid's imagination version of a Hitler that like cares about his feelings.
That's what I thought was actually really sad. Like actually like made me really sad at one point, because it's the whole, this kid obviously doesn't have a lot of supportive people in his life, so he looks at this idyllic person who he's never met and will probably never meet because he's this high up whatever, but he like sees him as like a nice person because that's all he needs is that kind of. He needs that kind of hero, and so Hitler is Germany's hero like now.
His dad's absent.
He sees him as
all of his
dad,
friends
basically
don't exist except one. It's just one kid. It's just one. He has one friend named Yorkie who's incredible.
That's my favorite.
But like other than that, it's just Yorkie and his mom, and then no one else, and everyone picks on him and everything. So he's got like this version of Hitler made up in his head that's like this fun,
because he doesn't know
supportive dude.
He doesn't know anything else about Hitler. He's just a kid.
Or more specifically, he buys into all of the ideals of Hitler, of being some cool ultimate person. So of course he would be supportive of you, and of course all these things would happen, and of course he believes in you because he's Hitler. Good old Hitler. See, but actually, it's a real specific tone to strike for a movie.
But what's nice is because of this, because it's seen through like a kid's eyes, it allows for a lot of like really comedic scenes where like Hitler is just like, he talks like a kid because a kid's imagining him, so he's just like he's kind of has like the tone of like, oh man, dude, that sucks. Like he's kind of like he's a chum,
Yeah, he's a good old pal Hitler.
Good old pal, friendly boy Hitler. Never thought I'd say that before.
Just slip him right in there amongst all of the other the beasts from what's it called? Where the Wild Things Are.
Yeah,
he's just right on that island. There's just Hitler on the island. He
frolics.
His best buddy Hitler.
He frolics and he's really inspirational and he's really funny, and makes a lot of very funny references.
Which takes a turn over the course of the movie, because like eventually, if when the kid's not as cool with the idea of being a Nazi, I know, crazy, then like his relationship with Hitler changes. I can't say these sentences out loud.
Well, yeah, because the whole point is that this imaginary version of Hitler is everything that this kid needs at the time. So as the kid's needs change over time, as he like discovers himself, his need for Hitler also changes, and his imaginary friend Hitler doesn't really care much for him abandoning
there was
him.
it really was like that touching sort of story you've seen in movies before, where like the child is noticeably outgrowing their imaginary friend and the ideas they represent. It's just that imaginary friend happens to be Taika Waititi playing Hitler.
See, I actually didn't even know that was. So I've seen What We Do in the Shadows, and I didn't know that Taika Waititi, the director, was one of the characters in the movie.
Yeah.
So the guy who's playing Hitler in this movie is actually also the director of the film, which I didn't know. I thought was funny when the credits rolled. I was like, oh, no wonder why he gave such a good fucking performance. He knew what he was doing. But no, I was just...
What?
Oh, I was gonna say my imaginary friend was John Lennon.
Oh.
But I never outgrew John Lennon. I used to talk to John Lennon's ghost when I was a kid. And I kind of understand that. I actually kind of related to this movie.
I never had an imaginary friend.
I didn't. That's why I had to have John Lennon's ghost. Because I was like, I'm not going to imagine something that's not real. But you know what's real?
Oh, right. Yeah.
John Lennon's ghost.
You said you told yourself to have an imaginary friend.
Because I wanted to fit in with my friends. They all had imaginary friends. I wanted one too. But I was like, I couldn't fall for
So there was enough people with imaginary friends that there was a peer pressure.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was like, I could maybe believe that I could talk to John Lennon's ghost. So I just did that as a kid instead.
And just made it happen.
And I turned out great. So, hey, John Lennon, wherever you are.
Well, he did tell you to imagine a world.
Yeah. Oh, don't make me cry. Don't make me cry again, Keith.
Again today.
Dude. Yeah. So I was crying in the theater, and I didn't want Keith to hear me crying. So I had to stifle myself a little bit because I get embarrassed. But I needed to but I didn't let myself. I had to try to stifle.
You can't hide it though. It's impossible.
No,
because you get sniffly.
I was just very touched. So this movie hits some really good chords. It has some serious implications because obviously there's a background that is very serious happening around this kid as he's trying to grow up. And it kind of uses that to highlight some very sentimental moments, but it also has the whimsy of oh, you're a kid, so you have these lighthearted moments in your life, and it's kind of weird to have that framed in such a very serious true life background. Yeah. The juxtaposition is actually really good, and it makes these moments more meaningful when they are sentimental.
It was interesting that the movie was so it was overtly dark in its subject matter,
made me fucking laugh.
None of the actual tone of the filmmaking was ever dark in that way for the most part. It really was if you had the colorfulness and the sort of careful shot setups and everything and kind of playfulness of Moonrise Kingdom, but then in the background war crimes are happening.
Yes.
It was the movie was not letting itself be framed around that stuff, even though it was always the background noise of the whole setting.
Well, it's nice that it didn't focus a lot on the atrocities, because throughout the movie I don't think the kid never actually understands
fully what he's
the scope
endorsing.
Yeah, at one point he does. So I mean, I don't know plot points, but at one point he does meet they say it in the trailer, it's fine. He meets a Jewish girl. And he develops a friendship with her, and he learns that these are people, and then his kind of viewpoint begins to change. But I don't think he ever understands completely what the Germans are doing, which is good, because I think that would be too much to kind of put into a 2-hour movie.
But at the same time, it's a cool movie of you watch this through line of somebody both learning it's the two aspects. One is when you're forced to live with somebody that is a type of person you have a bunch of ideas about that are all wrong, then you're forced to reconcile the reality with what your preconceptions were, and how those kind of dissolve away and they just become the person in front of you. Mm-hmm. But also it deals with somebody just slowly dawning on the idea that oh, they've been on the wrong side this whole time, and they've never questioned that because it was just what their world was. And so he kind of spends the whole movie both learning to imagine this other person complexly instead of just as this bizarre cartoon
this
character,
caricature of a human being,
this creature that hangs upside down and all that.
Yeah, that drinks blood and it's funny because he really does believe all these things. He's a kid.
He draws evil little cartoons and stuff like that about all the things the Jews do. But then he's meeting one, and she's kind of she's becoming the most important person in his life, essentially, because he only has 2 other people anyway. Yeah,
and honestly, she's obviously the most witty and smart character in the movie, I think. So she kind of gives him a counterpoint to all those things that he has heard from his peers,
And Scarlett Johansson's so good in this movie.
She's actually, she's
so good.
I have to say, like, there's been a lot of movies where I'm like not super fond of Scarlett Johansson, but I loved her in this movie.
I think she's just in a lot of bad movies.
Well, sometimes I don't think she like emotes enough.
Yeah. Like she was just so tender in this film. There were so many great scenes with her. I was telling Keith,
she's like if I was a mom, I'd be that mom because she's fucking weird.
She's cool. Like pranking her kid and messing
she's
with
just
them
fucking
and
around with them the whole movie.
Like she's so loving and like tender throughout the film, but also like interacts completely differently with the two different kids she's kind of taken care of in their own ways.
Well, because one of them is more, because one of them is the Jewish girl, so she's more her eyes are more open to the complexity of the situation, while her kid is like, she's aware that she doesn't agree with Nazis. But her kid is like, has this fanaticism about Nazis because he just lives in this time period and all of his friends are doing it and he's lonely. So she like has to support him and love him even though he represents everything that she disagrees with, which I think is it makes her a really good character. Like I feel like good for her. She's a great mom, Then she also got the Jewish girl she's taking care of, who's completely aware of how bad things are, so she can be more real with that character.
And it stood out to me that like every pairing of characters interacted differently with each other, and you can notice like they weren't just flat characters that always acted the same way, because every different group of people had a different rapport with each other. It's like Scarlett Johansson had a different style of parenting with each person, but also like there's like the stark difference of like you see the Jew from the kid's perspective first, where it's like a horror monster to him, and then Scarlett Johansson's with her, and it's like actually like a really like nice scene, and she seems like she seems like vulnerable and scared, whereas last scene she was like all sharp angles and cheekbones and stabby and everything. And it's like it was just kind of interesting seeing the recontextualization, and like how Scarlett Johansson will interact with Sam Rockwell versus the kid and so on. And also
Sam Rockwell was good in this movie.
He's
too. Great. He is very good.
I didn't know he was in this, so I was really happy because he's great just in general. I had a little kick for a little while where I think it was Iron Man 3 or something had Sam Rockwell in it, so I was like, I just need to see these movies. So I saw like Seven Psychopaths and Moon and stuff like that. I love Seven
Psychopaths.
He's just really good in a lot of movies. And he's great in here.
He was in that one where he played George W. Bush. He played George W. Bush in that Vice. In Vice? Yeah, in the movie Vice.
Oh.
He plays George W. Bush, and he does a fucking great job. He has a great George W. Bush impression.
Vice? Like Miami Vice or something?
No, it's about the vice president. It's about Dick Cheney. It's a movie about Dick Cheney. It's by the people that did The Big Short.
Oh.
It was okay.
I haven't seen either of those yet.
I'm not like necessarily...
Yeah.
His performance was great, but...
There's too many movies. How do you ever keep up? That's why we got to tell everyone about Jojo Rabbit.
I didn't...
Because they're all seeing Frozen 2 right now.
Which Keith has seen. Keith's seen
Shut up. No one needs to know that I've seen Frozen 2 and that I also cried at that.
Oh, that's cute.
They're Pixar movies. What are you, soulless?
I don't know, man.
Or not, well, actually, that's not a Pixar movie. That's a Disney movie.
Well, Disney fucking owns Pixar.
Yeah, you can't tell the difference anymore anyway, honestly, between which one's which. You know what I mean?
They
I guess the princesses give it away.
I don't know.
I don't think Pixar makes princess movies.
I don't think they don't. I think they do. All I know is that fucking Disney took Pixar hostage and they forced them to do all their movies now. So
yeah,
that's a whole nother thing. But
that's just the Disney Corporation.
But no, I found out today that
it's slowly taking everything.
Keith has never seen Forrest Gump.
Why do you gotta do this to me?
Because I want everyone to chastise you. Because that's
I've never
fucking
seen
ridiculous.
Forrest Gump. I've never seen 2001. I've never seen Godfather. I've never seen something. Don't worry, hug the bomb.
Oh, Dr. Strangelove.
Don't worry, hug the bomb.
hug that bomb.
I've never seen Metropolis. I've never seen Brazil. There's a lot of things I'm trying to get to one day.
Keith.
But I gotta watch all the Marvel movies or I'll fall behind. No, actually, these days, the biggest thing stopping me from making any progress on watching movies is TV. I'm watching much shows all the time.
I haven't given a lot of love. Like, honestly, since I moved out and I I watch YouTube. I do have Netflix and Amazon and all that stuff. I use Amazon to watch movies. I don't use it to watch shows or anything. I watch like old sitcoms. Like I like the classics, you know. But like I don't spend a lot of time watching new TV because I don't have faith in it.
You don't have faith in it?
No, I don't. The only TV show I'm into that's current is Mr. Robot,
which is great. Mr. Robot's great.
So
well, you also see Better Call Saul.
I've seen
Barry.
I'm on
Barry.
I haven't seen Barry.
And Barry.
And Barry.
Barry's important. Also,
Barry with an A, and Barry with an U, and then Barry with an E.
Maniac's probably your jam. That was the Emma Stone, Jonah Hill, I think limited run miniseries. I think it's over. I don't think it's supposed to have more seasons. Where they kind of go in and they kind of Eternal Sunshine. That's kind of what's going on in that movie.
I love Eternal Sunshine.
Bit. Not with each other though.
I think Eternal Sunshine is one of the most romantic movies.
They're kind of in a weird brain trial project thing, and it's one of those things where it's like so creatively shot, and it's just so fun to watch because of the experience of just where they're going with the show, as opposed to just pure plot and everything. And it's Emma Stone and Jonah Hill, and they're both great, so that's pretty good. But this movie, Jojo Rabbit, watch it.
No, it's a really excellent movie. I don't think anyone else could make like a satire.
Just the whole goddamn movie.
No, yeah, it was funny throughout
until it got brutally sad, but also was still funny.
But even then
you're like crying and you're confused and you don't know what to feel.
That's why I kept crying, because it went from like it was like sad moment, and then it was like happy cry moment, and then it was another sad moment. It was like happy cry moment, and then at the end during the credits, I just had to go.
It was a lot. It's good emotional storytelling, which is what's supposed to be these. That's supposed to be what these are about. Films. They're supposed to be about emotions and.
Well, it's a comedy, but it's saying something.
Yeah.
It's saying so it needs to drive home it needs to remind you that it has stakes to. And not, it's
and boy does
it's humorous and fun.
It has more stakes than I thought it was going to.
Me too.
I knew that they seemed to be in Berlin, and it's like the end of the war, and it's World War II, and they're Nazis. So I'm like, I should expect stakes, and yet the tone and the colors and all that, I'm like, I think this
colors
is just,
are great.
I thought it was going to be a kind of toothless comedy where they just kind of have a lot of really good jokes and maybe good characters, but it's just kind of set to this kind of edgy backdrop.
It'd be more of a
because they can mine it for jokes, which they do immediately, like at that camp at the beginning.
Oh, immediately.
Like there's so many great jokes built around the fucked up context of the film, but then the context becomes like the forefront of it. And you're like, oh, stuff actually happens in this movie. Like I thought the movie was going to just be at the camp.
I thought it was going to be like
I was ready for Moonrise Kingdom, but everyone has armbands.
like a Mel Brooks style like take on like Nazis, which I'm not like this on Mel Brooks or anything, but like I thought it was just going to be like punchline, just like ha ha ha, let's make fun of Nazis, which is totally great, down for making fun of Nazis.
Yeah,
but
I think the cool thing is just like this director keeps surprising me with the way he does comedy. Like I just didn't know where this movie was going or what it was going to be, just in general, and I couldn't really predict it based on movies I've seen.
It's really just kind of like it's lighthearted when it needs to be, and it points out the absurdity of like this blind nationalism and how this happened. It's kind of incredible that in real life this happened, and it kind of reminds you of how ridiculous that is by like having a kid experience it and basically be like in a world where he's expected to be indoctrinated, but like it's so absurd. Like these things that they tell these people is so absurd that it's just ripe for making fun of. And he did a great job. I'm really happy with it.
Great actors too, child actors.
Yeah, no. Oh my gosh,
settling your entire film on kids is risky as shit, and they have to do accents.
Yes,
which who knows if those are if they found kids with the accents, or they trained actor kids with the accents, to train them to have the accents, because that's just a lot to manage. I gotta say. So trying to act.
I know that kids are good in a movie, and I usually know acting is good in a movie where you don't notice it. That's the whole point.
You're not thinking about the fact that they're kids in a movie. But you're like, oh, I'm watching kids. Here we go.
Yeah, in kid movies, if I ever notice that the kid's acting, then I already know it's like bad acting. But I didn't even think about that until right now when you said like, oh yeah, kid actors, and I was like,
oh yeah, this entire film, almost every shot features one or two child actors continuously through the film. And like they're the stars of the movie.
There's 3 main ones, and honestly, they all did really great now that I think about it, and they're all fucking cute, fucking adorable as fuck. And this main kid is so cute.
They have to do like all of it. They have to have the accents. They have to emote, and they have to like do what's like a fair amount of like drama in the story, and like do all the acting and everything. And they have to deliver comedy lines in a way that it'll land.
Well, see, the best part,
I don't even know how you do this.
Like when these two boys, they have like rapport with each other, and they say like these ridiculous things, but they say it so straight faced and convinced that they're right. Like just like how a kid says, like kid's like, there's that one line where he's like, nothing stronger, like the most strong thing is metal. Yeah. Metal, and then like rocks, and then muscles. But like he says it like, and then muscles. Because it's so like
no, it's metal. There's like somebody said something was strong. They're like, oh, everyone knows the strongest thing is metal, and then explosives. Oh,
and then dynamite.
And it's like, and then dynamite, and then
probably muscles.
They're just saying it just serious.
I was like, God. Hell yeah.
And the number of like visual gags are fantastic. Like slapstick moments where like moment of triumph, like the grenade scene, or like just the visual of like a kid wearing a paper uniform and things like that. Like they keep having more to do. Like there's just a lot of fun creative energy in this. I had a great time.
One of my favorite visuals is like earlier in the movie, Sam Rockwell's character is designing his own uniform. His no Nazi uniform, and it's fucking ridiculous. He's like, I put a feather on there for aerodynamics and a cape,
and my gun plays annoying music at people
to ruin the morale. Yeah. And then at the very end, there's a scene with him wearing it, and it just makes you very happy. It's like a fucking ridiculous outfit.
Yeah, the film's.
But Nazi uniforms are ridiculous.
It's full of so much setup and payoff, including ones that. In some cases, like stuff, I was predicting the movie sometimes and didn't want to predict the movie because of elements of setup and payoff, but also like other things. But I think we want to go into spoilers, don't we?
Okay.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Watch the movie. Come back after you've watched the movie. This is the only people who've watched Jojo Rabbit section.
Yeah. So you're not allowed. There's only 2 other people in the theater, by the way.
Yeah, it was just the 2 of us and 2 other people, and just empty. I reserved the tickets because I'm like, I'm not going to go to the theater at 9:00 in the morning and not have tickets to the film. Like, and then you just fucked. Like, there's no other way. But that was very unnecessary. There was no one there.
No.
We're just sitting there quietly having a personal screening of the giant ass thing. It's like whiplash because I saw Frozen the night before. And it was the biggest theater. We're at the IMAX theater at the same place, and it was just full completely. And there were so many children just making noise the entire film, and so much rattling and noises, and
I would have loved
people running around.
A bunch of kids went and saw this movie. A bunch of little kids went and saw this movie about a war they probably don't even know happened.
Yeah, like it was
I'll take my kids.
Like I've had way worse movie going experiences. It wasn't as disruptive. It wasn't even particularly disruptive, but you were continuously aware of like just a level of activity around you at all times. Like there was never not like, it's like being in a bowling alley. Like you're just aware that you're full of a place full of other people, even if you're just your group of people doing your one thing. But like, yeah, this was just an empty ass theater because no one's watching this movie. Like there's one showing all day, and people didn't even like crowd into that one. And it was the smallest theater of the entire place. I've never seen that theater before. Like it was only 4 rows of seats, and of those 4 rows, there was 4 people total. Yeah. That's a bummer.
It makes me sad. That's actually kind of why I think it's good that we do this video, because
he's having fun though, because he just did Thor, so he's like, fuck, I'm gonna make my weird indie movie that doesn't even go to most theaters.
Like that was such a good movie. I was like wiping the tears from my eyes, and I was like, Keith, I liked that movie.
Yeah, I liked that movie. I had a great time. But speaking of spoilers, so here we go. I guessed the thing.
Oh, see, okay, so I mispredicted the thing. I thought it was going to...
There's some visual storytelling they kept doing where they really like to have her walking on high surfaces where her feet were eye level with the kid. multiple times throughout the movie.
You're right.
And I'm like, I don't like this. I don't like what this is suggesting.
Well, I thought I didn't think about the height of her, but I kept thinking about how they kept pointing out her shoes, and that made me really scared. Yeah. Because shoes is a bad visual image for the Holocaust. Yeah. So in the very beginning of the film, there's a scene where they, everything's lighthearted. This is like one of the first serious moments. It's like everything's lighthearted and cool. Mm-hmm. And the kid and the mom are walking through like the square, and there are hanging bodies. And it just shows their shoes. It never shows their faces. It just shows their shoes.
There's a distressing amount of shoes.
It's also the height of the kid, which I think is important. So the kid is shoe height of these hanging people.
They keep showing his mom's shoes, and they keep showing her from his perspective when she's standing up on surfaces so that her shoes are at his eye level.
And her shoes are very distinct.
And he specifically can't tie shoes. So like there's more. They keep layering aspects of shoes.
Oh, that part. Sorry. Okay, but so I knew at the very beginning, one of the first things that Hitler kind of says that makes him, he's like kind of an asshole to him. He's like, you can't even you were 10 years, because he points out all of his personal insecurities because he is him, is his imaginary friend. So he's like, you're just, even though you're just a 10-year-old boy, you can't even tie your shoes yet, blah, 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 blah. And so it's one of the first things you learn about this kid is that he can't tie his shoes. Mm-hmm. And throughout the movie, the mom keeps showing him how to tie his shoes. And she keeps using the rabbit method, which ties into the name of the film, where you wrap the rabbit, it goes through the hole, that stuff. And then, and I knew like, okay, at the end of the movie, he's going to tie shoes correctly. I knew it was going to be like one of those, it's like a symbol of personal growth kind of thing. But yeah, they kept showing her shoes, and her shoes are very distinct because she's very she's like one of the only bright characters in this really sad kind of world.
She wears hyper saturated clothes.
I love her fucking clothes. I kept thinking dude, I'd fucking wear that.
See if I can find that.
She's a hot mama.
She has a bunch of different costumes. One of the images that comes up for some reason is Joker, and I'm like, yeah, it's about that color saturation.
It's a hot mama. I was like, me as a mom.
Wow. You Google Jojo Rabbit Scarlett, and it just auto completes to Scarlett Johansson death. I'm like, no, stop.
Stop.
Oh,
so it's gonna spoil it for everyone who just Googles her in this movie.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, she's like one of the only characters that's like really bright, and so you already know she's kind of like a part of the resistance because she's like wearing.
It's always suggesting that she doesn't fit in with this group.
Really bright lipstick and really bright colors, and she's like one of the only happy people. And so when they see the hanging people in the square, the thing that she said, the kid's like, oh, what did they do? She goes, oh, they did what they could. And so as soon as you hear that, you're like, okay, she's part of the resistance. So I feel I'm already scared.
And one of her first scenes, she like sarcastically says, yes, I volunteer my child to be conscripted at the age of 10 into the military. But then they don't.
Well, she only does it because he wants it.
But they don't really mean it sarcastically.
Yeah.
Is the distressing thing. But yeah, she eventually is caught. And it's very sad. Very abrupt. Like she just hasn't been in a few scenes, and then he just like walks right into her shoes essentially.
I didn't think anything of it because in the scene before it, he comes home and she's not home. Yeah. And I don't think anything of it because it's instantly interrupted by something else. Because
and she's constantly.
I would say the gazpacho.
She's also like constantly not home.
What's the name of the people? The Gestapo. I want to say gazpacho, but that's
Despacito.
That's a cold soup. Gazpacho is cold soup.
Despacito. The Despacito police are here. It's not the Gestapo, is it?
I think it's the Gestapo. Whatever. The Nazi cops. Nazi cops.
I feel like it's a different word for some reason.
Gestapo. It's Gestapo.
Yeah.
Okay, so not gazpacho. The Gestapo shows up to her house. I don't know why. So the scene's instantly interrupted, so you don't think about her not being there anymore because you're not focused on that.
Yeah.
And the very next scene, he's walking through the square and he's following a butterfly, and bam, he walks right into her fucking shoes. And as soon as you see her shoes, they're very distinct. You remember those fucking shoes. It's very sad.
So when they had the sister fake out scene, where she pretended to be the sister.
Oh, you gotta give background to that really quick.
Well, we're assuming people watch this movie, you fools. Watch the movie, you fools. You fools.
The Jew girl that's living in their walls at one point has to pretend to be the dead sister because the Gestapo show up. And
it's actually one of the setup moments was the fact that they had the
I knew she looked like
was missing.
Yes.
It was two things. One, she looks like their his dead sister.
I thought that already. Yeah.
And also his knife was missing all movie, and like she was keeping it upstairs, and like since they didn't really, for most of the movie, they didn't have a good relationship, so the knife wasn't really going to go back to him. But also, she couldn't give it back through the mom because the mom couldn't know that they knew about each other, and she never does find out that they knew about each other. So like it just continually is waiting up there. Like he doesn't have the knife all movie, and I'm like, I feel like that's going to come up. I didn't know how I didn't think it'd come up so specifically of like that. Like it almost necessitates her impersonating the sister or something.
Well, I think honestly, he's a kid. You could have just lied and been like,
yeah,
oh, I lost it. I'm a fucking kid. Like
it did feel like maybe there wouldn't be that much of a consequence for the knife being missing because it is just a kid in a uniform in his own house.
Well, they would have totally. That's the thing though. I was thinking is like they'd totally have found her because everyone knows like people were living in the walls at that time. Like it was kind of
what a massive house. Like
a beautiful house.
It kind of shows the hard times to some extent, is like the juxtaposition of like massive, ridiculously huge, grand house with no people in it and also no food. Like they're bringing home like a tiny bit of soup and like a slice of bread, and that's like what they have for the day. And they have a house that's like grander than anything I've ever lived in or will ever live in, most likely. And it's like it's the kind of difference in time they're dealing with. They're kind of just silently, just kind of like, well, because they're kind of just tolerating it. Like they're just kind of like living through it and not even remarking on it.
Back in the day, it was like at a point where in a lot of places where like if you owned your house, you just owned your house. And then if people fell into hard times, you don't like it wasn't a house payment anymore. You owned your house already, so you're literally just buying food and paying for the lights to stay on and stuff.
What a day to be alive.
I know, man. Oh gosh. But yeah, so it's like if your family owned that house for generations, you don't have to worry about being kicked out of the house. You just have to worry about not starving. So that made sense to me, but it's, but
real power moves there. Like when the when punk child is all like knows that he's specifically starving the girl upstairs, so he's like going for the food. It's like, oh, if you're not gonna eat it, then I'm gonna eat it. When it's like Scarlett Johansson's like specifically refusing to eat because she can give the food to the Jewish girl. Yeah, that she's keeping secret, and she can't say
mom
anything.
Doesn't know that the kid knows that she's there. So well, I'll eat your leftovers because you don't want to spoil those.
There's a lot of great scenes in this movie, and also a lot of changing relationships between every like group of characters. Like they're all on their sort of a trajectory throughout the movie, and so like every scene's actually like, despite being like a funny, fluffy thing, and there's all these other things that the scenes are doing, they're also always moving parts. They're always changing the relationships the characters have, and they're always on a trajectory. Like they're all serving utility in the story in addition to like the actual comedy and everything, because they're always in a different place each time. Well, and then
so the Sam Rockwell character was the he's an authority figure, but he's not necessarily bad, and so you learn he's like that character where it's like, oh, I don't have to hate all authority because he's just wrapped up in this like everyone else. And then you got the fucking, what's the kid's name? Yorkie. I love Yorkie. He's my favorite. But what's funny about him is that he's to point out how weird and sad this is, because he's a little cute ass like 11-year-old kid, and he's constantly carrying around these big guns. Yeah, and he's like going to war.
He just wants to wave hi to his friend, and he like accidentally like blows up a post office.
He drops a bazooka. Yeah, but
I just can't seem to die.
Well, that's what's funny is that so I thought his utility in the story was going to be to die, because I was like, this poor kid, he's not going to fucking live. He's going to be a piggy, like from Lord of the Flies. I was like, he's going to be a fucking piggy. He's going to die to prove a point. But I think they knew that I was going to think that, because they make a joke about it later when he's like, I just can't seem to die. And I'm like, that's because you thought all of us thought you were going to die, because I totally thought he was going to die. But I was so glad he didn't, because I love that kid. But yeah, he's to point out how just ridiculous this whole thing is.
The whole premise is
these children carrying around these guns and like convinced that they're going to be able to go kill people.
She's like, I saw some Jews they caught. I don't see what all the fuss is all about. They just kind of seem normal.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
As he's like putting his Mauser in his like gun pocket.
Oh, because they handed him. Yeah, because
I was like, guns. Like when they're handing him guns, I was like, oh no.
I love that character, by the way. I don't remember her name, but she was from Pitch Perfect and a bunch of other films. The blonde lady.
I don't remember her name.
Because she's really funny in a few different films, and in this one she's just like, she's just the distressingly patriotic, hyper gung-ho Nazi lady, and so she just keeps kind of being like, just saying distressing things every time she speaks, essentially. Real bad moments, like one of her first lines is to be like, I've popped out 18 kids just for the German state. Great year to be a girl.
Yeah, great. I was like, yeah, when they're at the camp, they're like, the men, like the boys will learn like this, and this, and this. Oh, and the women are going to learn how to make beds, how to heal the sick, and how to birth children.
How to get pregnant.
Yeah.
She specifically said get pregnant. I'm like, that's the worst words you could say.
Put your legs over your head.
They're all, it's a camp for like 10-year-old kids.
Yeah, see?
A great year to be a woman.
Immediately fucked up. See, that's the kind of dark humor that I like, though.
Mm-hmm. Oh, hoo.
But no, I thought that was a really great movie.
Yeah, I had a great time.
I was telling Keith I was really fortunate because this hardly ever happens where I get to go see all the weird movies I want to that are playing at the same time.
And you've nailed all of them.
Yeah, lately. I saw The Lighthouse, I saw Parasite, and I saw this, which are like the three that I wanted to see.
I need to get caught up. Those ones are harder to find than the one that conveniently plays 9:00 in a nearby theater.
I recommend all three of those, by the way. So,
and maybe we'll talk about those in the future. Yeah. This has been interesting to talk about because I think it's my first time doing a spoiler cast thing for like a comedy, especially it's not like one that's like a plot driven movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like there's kind of a structure to like how you process a movie in your head when you want to discuss it, but when it's not as much of a plot driven movie, I'm kind of just swimming at random like this thing to talk about, this thing.
Well, that's probably like that's just might be me too, because that's how my brain is. My brain's very like,
well, I haven't done this in a year. We're back, everybody. His spoiler cast. We did it.
I'm here.
Because I used to do these with at Andrew's place back before both of us moved multiple times, like a year and a half ago or something.
I just figured, like, Keith and I just talk like this about movies anyway. Yeah. Like, this is just like, we have long-winded fucking conversations about everything.
Like, we saw Joker.
Oh, God.
And we just kind of just were going for like 20 minutes.
And we saw it with other people, and then you get like a word in. We were like...
Yeah. It was the whole drive home, and then also when we got home, we were still just talking about Joker the whole time, which maybe we'll get around to at some point. I kind of want to watch it again before to talk about it, just because it's been a bit now.
No, you got to watch.
And also
Taxi Driver.
Yeah, we watch Taxi Driver first.
Keith's never seen it, but I've seen it, and I got a lot of things to say about those two movies together. I'm
gonna go find movies she hasn't seen. She knows the movies she hasn't seen. But no, they're like, you guys just argue. Like, I remember, I think it was one of the people that was in the car with us, I think after we got out, was just like, you guys just argued the whole way home, and it's like,
we weren't arguing.
Yeah, we weren't arguing, but also like this is when you find people that just like talk about movies and just go.
It's like my favorite thing is like seeing a movie and then getting in the car and being like, okay, so we're gonna talk about everything about it.
We had to sit there and just wait because we were like, no. I was like, because we were getting in the car and you started talking. I'm like, we have to decide, are we going to make a video about this? Because if we're going to make a video, we have to stop and we have to just wait for a minute. Although maybe in the future I'll just have a fucking dash cam phone set up and we're just talking in the car on the way.
I won't be able to. I'll just get in the car and go. But
but then we'll be CinemaSins. Oh no.
Don't compare yourself to anybody else.
You're your own person.
You're your own person.
Just like Jojo.
Just like Jojo.
This is
also watch JoJo's the anime. It's great.
I need to.
No,
Keith hasn't watched JoJo, you guys. Keith hasn't even watched JoJo, you guys.
I love JoJo's. I don't know if Keith will like it. That's okay.
I might like it.
Your brother doesn't
I don't watch
like
that
it.
much. I don't watch that much anime though.
It's like
I watched Devilman and Agretsuko. Maybe I'd watch JoJo if it was on Netflix.
It is, motherfucker.
Only one season though. That's not even
the good season.
Yeah.
Well, I have Crunchyroll. I'm so cool. I have Crunchyroll, and I don't pay for it. I mooch off of it, so you can borrow mine.
It's a beautiful era to be subscribing to stream services, so that you can use other people's stream services.
Somebody give Keith your Crunchyroll account.
I still don't pay for Netflix.
I don't pay for Netflix. I don't pay for Crunchyroll.
It just occurred to me because I was in a family plan thing, or like I was a sub account on a family thing, and then I just moved out, and I was like, I guess I'll just keep using. I don't even think about it because it's just auto logging on my computer. So like I didn't even process the idea that I'm like I don't even have to log in to recognize that I'm using like somebody else's like information. I'm just like, it still works. Just watching Netflix forever
and ever and ever
and ever and ever and ever. I don't know how to close this. I don't know. Do you have any other things you want to talk about this movie?
No, I think that's
just kind of a general ranting. Now we're just petering out. Well, if you guys have been subscribed this whole time to the podcast feed, here it is, coming back like Frankenstein. Suddenly there's a new thing in it because I haven't uploaded a single thing to the podcast feed besides like the free episodes of the Patreon Q&A for like the last year. It just hasn't been podcasts. They all died.
Like I said, like I said, I mean, Keith and I just talk like this anyway. When like I first moved in here, I figured out very early that Keith and I had very similar interests on a lot of things.
We've had very long kitchen conversations about horror movies.
Yeah.
And so on.
See, you weren't expecting that, huh, Keith? You were like this bitch. Who's this bitch that lives there?
I got hints about it because I think Eric told me that somebody in the house also collected Junji Ito.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, that's real specific. This household has like 3 copies of Gyo scattered between its denizens.
Why did you get your brother wasn't gonna like that? Why did you get that for him?
I don't know. I
could have told you that.
Well, I didn't know you. You weren't even there yet. You didn't know him yet when I got him.
I would have known that right away. He was a brother.
I was just he doesn't get new things. So
No,
I was like,
this is not as. It's not. I don't know.
Well, I just experimented with different things over the years because like I tried getting him games. I was like, oh, I used to play like JRPGs and grinding games and stuff like that. I'll get you these new ones to try out. But like he doesn't want to play new games. He wants to play the same games forever. He just wants to play WoW and Diablo and nothing else. So I was like, well, you collect manga and stuff like that. So it's like, here's some manga that I found. So I got him Gyo and All You Need Is Kill. Which he might like that one.
All I know is like one of the worst gifts I've ever gotten in my whole life.
And last year I got him fish because I knew that was what he's doing these days.
You got him fish?
Yeah.
Already?
No, last year.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. You were there.
I was there.
We drove off to aquariums and I paid for the fish. It wasn't much of a surprise Christmas present because he was just picking them out and then getting them instantly because that's how fish care works. It's one of the things we try to buy Christmas presents for somebody whose like hobby is live creatures that have to be cared for at all times is that you don't really wrap them up and surprise them with that.
Yeah. You can't really put those in your closet for 2 months, you know?
No.
I don't know. I gotta get him something this year. I don't know what I'm doing. Anyways, that's a whole.
We'll just both drive him out to an aquarium and pay for things for him.
You know, I was gonna do that anyway.
What else can we do?
I was thinking maybe. Well, I don't want to say what I'm like gonna get him on here because what if he sees it?
Because he'll know. He doesn't watch my stuff. We're related. He would never give me the time of day. That's how siblings work. You have to like. It's
does
like
anyone in your family watch your stuff?
No. It's like something about that's how I think that's usually how people say it's like they always talk about how like their entire family doesn't even understand their YouTube channel on like a fundamental level. Even the people that are of the age that you think would understand it, those people. It's more the other hand thing is like because you're related, there's like a militant disinterest in the very premise of watching your content because it's just man. That asshole.
if like my brother or sister did that, I would watch their stuff.
Well, then you should encourage them to do it, and then you could see their stuff all day and without it, and it's like bridging the gap. It's like you're with them every day.
I would love that.
Yeah.
But they're a lot younger than me though, so I know you probably said that sarcastically, but I would actually genuinely like that.
That's a real thing. Like, do you know who the Vlog Brothers are?
No.
So the Vlog Brothers are a channel that's been around forever. You know who both of them are because they're Hank Green and John Green. Oh. And so they started off as I think it was called Brotherhood 2.0, and now it's called Vlog Brothers, which has been most of the time it's been called that. It started as two brothers who I think are like 6 to 8 years apart. Like there's kind of a gap between them, and so they kind of, because they were living in separate states and hadn't been around each other a lot, they started reinventing their relationship by having a vlogging channel that they both were on, where they would both make videos each week directed at the other person.
That's cool.
And they're just trying to entertain each other, essentially.
That's kind of sweet.
And they still do it to this day. Like all through all the book deals and movie deals and the 15 other channels they run and the convention, because they created VidCon and all that. But like they still do that thing. It's kind of evolved to its own thing, because like obviously they are very aware there's an audience now, where at the beginning it was more of a direct one-to-one thing, but like they're still just trying to like wow each other every week, essentially. And like it's a great idea for a channel.
That's really cute.
It's still like the best channel on YouTube.
Oh, that's really cute.
Wait, we're going off on tangents.
Yeah, sorry.
Watch JoJo, even though we spoiled it. If you still haven't watched JoJo,
well, no,
watch it anyway.
Honestly, the spoilers don't make the movie.
It's the emotion.
Well, it's
the emotion.
Yeah, the emotion, and I think,
and the great comedy.
Yeah, it was a really, really unique comedy that tackled a really difficult subject matter, but did it in a way that wasn't pandering. It didn't like make light of this atrocity. It really just pointed out the absurdity of something that actually happened, and how maybe we can all learn from that. But good job.
And Scarlett Johansson was in a good movie for once.
I think the last one was it Lost in Translation?
Oh God, wasn't that a long time ago?
Yeah, I like that one though. Oh, and then she's also in Ghost World, which no one knows. I don't know
if I've seen her in a single good movie besides some Marvel movies, ever.
Watch Ghost World.
Like for me, she's like, oh, the Ghost in the Shell lady, and so on.
Oh yeah,
like a lot of like real disasters. Which we also did a spoiler cast of. Andrew and I weren't happy. You'll be shocked to find out. When it was both Ghost in the Shell and Death Note. Those are both. Oh
no!
Yeah, those are.
Don't make me talk about Death Note.
I think those were both the same year.
Oh,
so we did spoiler cast on both of those, and it's like, fuck.
I had my own version of that in my old apartment by myself, angrily fuming over like 4 glasses of wine and just crying,
chewing grapes. Yeah. It's one of the better lines in the movie.
I'm just going to chew on these grapes.
See you guys next time.
Bye.
Casual hangout video or audio. You thought it was over. It's still not over.
Uh-oh. Is this like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, where it's like, go home. What are you still doing here?
Yeah.
Have you seen that one?
No.
What the fuck, Keith? Go home. What are you still doing here? The movie's over. Go home.
I've also only seen the first Back to the Future.
Motherfucker, Keith.
I've also never seen Teen Wolf. I don't know if I've seen that. I don't know if I've seen that guy in movies.
Michael J. Fox.
Generally speaking.
Oh.
What is he in?
Those movies. Well, then,
obviously.
And now he has some Parkinson's troubles.
Well, yeah.
I loved him. I thought he was the cutest thing ever. I had a big fat crush on him.
Was Michael J. Fox in a movie this year?
No, he tries to do shows and stuff, but a lot of his stuff he does is advocacy work now.
Because I feel like I saw him in something like recently. Welcome to the boring. I'm on IMDb part of the not wife IMDb. You thought this video was over, but actually we're just here to waste all of your time. We'll keep you friends. We'll keep you company, friends, for a few more minutes. Are we having a great time? What the fuck is Archie 2? How is he in a movie every year still?
Oh, he was himself in Curb Your Enthusiasm. I remember that.
Michael J. Fox show apparently happened. He's gonna rescue me? I don't know.
Go. Is it in order? Like, keep going up. Wait, no. Go to the bottom because it's in chronological order. I want to see what he did after Teen Wolf.
After Teen Wolf?
No, just like go.
I did too many E's.
You just go. It's in chronological order, Keith. You can just go down to the bottom and then scroll up.
Well, I was just gonna skip to his Teen Wolf.
Okay, so he did Family. Wait, wasn't he Doogie Howser? Was he Doogie Howser?
Was that before or after Teen Wolf?
That would be his first thing.
His first thing? It was Leo and Me.
I thought he was Doogie.
Here's Boomer.
No, Doogie Howser is. That's terrible.
That's a great name.
Doogie Howser is that guy who was
It was Neil Patrick Harris.
Thank you.
I haven't seen that either. I haven't seen movies.
Well, Doogie Howser's a TV show.
Yeah. He's in Mars Attacks.
Yes.
Which is great.
They had a.
See, I've seen a movie with Michael J. Fox in it.
They had
He's real. Oh, he was Stuart Little. That's unfortunate.
Oh yeah. And then he also Homeward Bound dog. He was.
I've seen him in Scrubs.
He was Chance from Homeward Bound. Yeah,
Chance. Yep.
I love.
So that's his role in my childhood is Homeward Bound, which I loved.
I was telling someone at work that the only movies I like with animals in them, with live action animals, would be Homeward Bound, Milo and Otis, and then Babe. I don't appreciate the use of...
this year we get Lady and the Tramp, which looks terrifying.
Well, they're all CG, aren't they?
It looks terrifying to look at.
I don't like any movies that have exotic animals doing acting roles. I think they should only be domesticated animals for that, and I think they should be treated very well. Like Milo and Otis got their own little trailers and everything. They had a great time. But
whenever dogs are in movies, it's usually like you get to the credits and you find out actually it was like 12 dogs. We tricked you.
They get tired. And maybe one dog's really good at running and one dog's good at barking.
Gotta get a bunch of really similar looking dogs.
In the lighthouse, they had a bunch of seagulls. Actor seagulls. And they had different ones for different things because one of them was like really good at pecking. One of them was really good at flying. They actually had them for different things. And they were all like rehabilitated seagulls that got like hit by cars that like weren't able to live out in the world. So they were like, that was like kind of sweet.
It's a really specific backstory.
Yeah. Huh. And so, they just, I won't talk about it, but they play a really symbolic role in that movie.
Wait, Michael J. Fox still plays Marty McFly in voice acting roles.
Yeah, no one else can do his voice.
Well, it's just surprising. No one ever... Like they never get the real people for those. They always have to just try to do impressions.
But maybe he's respected.
It's like how we're playing Death Stranding, and like Guillermo del Toro's not played by Guillermo del Toro.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I hate to break your heart, but
his voice?
It's not his voice.
But it's his body, though, right?
Yeah, they did his body, and like. The idea is to have him in the movie, but it's just so much voice acting. So like they just have somebody doing an impression of him the entire film. Like it's just
that's pretty funny because honestly, most people, like me included, like I don't know what Guillermo del Toro sounds like because I watch his movies.
That's a lot of time to take up of him.
But I don't like listen to him talk all the time. Most people probably don't even know what he looks like.
Boring exposition.
Yeah, he probably like I don't want to do that.
It's not worth his time to just talk about BBs for like 12 hours.
I'll talk about BBs for 12 hours.
And we will. Face reveal.
They already know what your face looks like.
They might not know what you look like, but also whenever I show up in anything, people are like, "Oh my god, face reveal!"
Oh, and
it's always like the 100th video that has my face in it, and they're like, "Oh my god, his face reveal! He's never! I can't believe he showed his face." And it's like it was not a secret.
It's not a secret.
I'm not on the microphone. That was bad audio. I'm professional.